What's going on, guys? Killer6 back with another hotfix video, and we've got another really good one for you guys this week. I know the previous hotfix was really exciting because we got buffs for the Woodblocker, the Lob, the Malek's Bane, and the Ruby's Wrath. Now, obviously, the Malek's Bane kind of still underperforms in my opinion. Ruby's Wrath is kind of okay, but the Lob and the Woodblocker, holy crap. Those were really good buffs. And this week, there are no nerfs. Not a single nerf in sight, which means we might be okay on our lob situation, boys and girls. So that's exciting. But what we did get in this are more buffs. Even more buffs. Gearboxes, it seems like they've heard us loud and clear. They're not nerfing anything right now. They're buffing a bunch of things that are underperforming, just like what we asked them to do. And that is awesome news. So let's start with that, and then I'll cover some of the other stuff that's in this as well. So first off, the Crater's EMP5, which I thought was actually still in a really good place. I mean, it's a Mayhem 4 exclusive drop though, and you can get it either from the Agonizer, or you can also get it from the Wotan raid, but it has to be on Mayhem 4 for that thing to drop. But what they've done on this one is they've increased the critical hit damage by 80% while airborne. But this thing's laser accurate, so I think the jumping and hitting crits with that thing's probably not going to be so bad. Up next, we got the Faisor. They've increased the amount of shotgun projectiles from 6 to 8, so that means more damage. They've increased the reload time of the underbarrel shotgun, the rate at which the underbarrel shotgun refills the ammo. And they've also increased the weapon damage on both the regular firing mode of the Faisor, just, you know, your regular assault rifle damage, and they've also increased the underbarrel shotgun damage. The Firestorm, this is a this is one of those guns that just has always been bad, and they've increased the weapon damage on it, so here's hoping that that helps. I don't know, we'll have to see on that one. Hellshock, they've increased the number of projectiles per shot to 2. Doesn't say anything about increasing the ammo cost, so that's good news. And they've also increased the weapon damage on the Hellshock. Now the Hellshock, in case you don't know, if you have it on shock mode and you shoot it and it bounces or ricochets off anything, the ricochet is fire. And then vice versa, you can switch it to fire mode and the ricochet or bounce projectiles will be shock. So this is a really good pistol already on Amara, so it'll be interesting to see if this brings this up into like a top tier kind of thing for Amara players. And even, I mean, other characters can probably get some good use out of it too, but Amara with all of her elemental damage can really make good use of the Hellshock. Up next, the Krakatoa. They've increased the weapon damage on the Krakatoa. Now the Krakatoa is an interesting gun. The Krakatoa is just, it's always just felt like it's just slightly off from being where it needs to be, so hopefully this increased weapon damage brings that up to par. Up next is the 9-Volt. Now this only drops from one source in the entire game, and that is Kilovolt in Electricity on the Promethea map. They have increased the weapon damage on this. Now this gun has always been kind of in that weird place too, where it's kind of cool and, you know, it has like a really kind of cool gimmick, but it just didn't have the damage, so hopefully this brings that up to par. Up next, the Sickle. This is another assault rifle, and this one shoots in the shape of a sickle, which, you know, makes sense for the name. They've increased the fire rate and they've increased the weapon damage. The fire rate was the main issue for me with the Sickle because it shot so slow. Up next, the Smartgun. This is the Smartgun XXL. They didn't list it as the Smartgun XXL in the notes, but that's what it's called. It drops from Gigamine. That is the only place in the entire game that you can get that. They've increased the weapon damage and the damage on thrown projectiles. So if you want to do like a throw reload, it's like a TDR, and do a lot of damage, because the little brain things that you know when you throw and do the reload with this gun, it does the little brains with legs, and those things were pretty good on normal mode, but then they, you know, taper off pretty hard in Mayhem modes. All right, up next, the Storm. Now this thing can drop from Krakatoa Jr., and it is a sniper that shoots out orbs, and previously this was a pearlescent on Borderlands 2. On Borderlands 3, it feels more like a white rarity at the moment, so this one they've brought up the weapon damage on it. Speaking of something that really needs buff, the Thunderball Fist. They've increased the damage on the initial shot and on the Thunderball. If you don't know, when you shoot the Thunderball Fist, when it hits the ground, it does like a little Thunderball explosion kind of thing that does additional area of effect damage. This could make this a very powerful weapon in the hands of most players. I can't wait to see what these things do. This hotfix will release today, March the 5th, and that should be by about 4 p.m. Eastern. Usually we see it closer to noon Eastern, but not always. So I don't want to tell people it's going to happen at noon Eastern, then it doesn't happen. One thing that I think that everybody needs to take note of, because I get this question a lot in my video comments, is when people will say, oh, it looks like they reverted this back. Please take note, at the main menu, when you're about to start your game, wait for the hotfix applied sign to appear in the background. If that doesn't appear when you first log in, give it a second, let that appear, because if you start the game without that, then you're starting the game without these hotfixes, which means you're going to be playing without a lot of buffs. So make sure you wait for that, because I'm going to get 20 questions each video about that. All right, up next we got some Vault Hunter things to look at. I don't know that these are necessarily changes at all, but here's how they describe it. This week we took a look at some of the character skills that were occasionally not properly reporting what was happening in game. For these instances, we have updated the description text to show the actual in-game values and removed an instance of penalty that was not reported on its skill description. All right, now most of these things are for Moes, but there is something for Flak on here as well. All right, so they addressed the reported instance of the gunner's skill description, sometimes showing inaccurate values. Hell on Rail skill description was occasionally showing plus 30% fuel drain instead of the actual 8% fuel drain. So that sounds like that makes that a better skill all of a sudden. Corrosive Sabot rounds. The skill description was occasionally showing negative 50% railgun damage and fuel drain instead of the actual, which is negative 33%. They also addressed a reported concern that the gunner's active tracking skill was receiving a 50% penalty to damage per missile and ammo capacity that was not listed in the skill description. We have removed this penalty. So that means the active tracking skill has basically got a buff. So it'll be fun to test that thing out and see what that does. They also fixed the typo with the Beastmaster's Furious Attack skill. They addressed a reported concern that blood-cooled Jackbot's beam attacks were bypassing operative's barrier. I never experienced that myself, but it wouldn't surprise me. I had a few things go through my barrier as Zane. So additionally, they fixed some other reported concerns about some various minor things in the game. I will put a link to all these changes down in the description below so you can read everything for yourselves. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please take a second to hit that like button. If you're new around here and you want to, hit subscribe and tap the bell icon if you'd like to be notified when I post a new video. I cover all the hot fixes. I usually cover them like as soon as they happen. Got top 10s, top 5s, weapon guides, playthroughs, all kinds of good stuff on here. You can also check me out over on twitch.tv every Monday through Friday, usually from 9 a.m. till about 1 or 2 p.m. Eastern. And that's twitch.tv/killer6. There is a link down in the description for that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.